You are the best statement of yourself that you will ever meet. And so it stuck with me. She convinced me, I was very shy, she convinced me, you can be on this debate team and you can do it. She taught me how to do it. And it went with me from that point to this one as I speak to you.
That is great. So, what differences can you recall about the school versus the all-white schools? And did segregation impact the quality of your learning materials? And if so, how?
Yes, it did. When we came to Brown Summit, and I came from Mount Zion on the other side of Gifford County, our science lab, underneath this sink, I don't know how long this rat and this snake had been in this quart jar. That was our lab. We had nothing else. We had to use the mind. And the thing about it is that most of us could not pursue a college degree with what we learned here as far as the sciences were concerned and our relationship to actual hands-on stuff. And I think when I left in 54, that rat and that snake was here to greet the next class. I don't know when they got rid of it, but it had been there for quite some time. But even with that, the teacher was Mr. Hope. He was able to show us some of the things about these two particular animals. Even though when one of the young ladies in our class decided she wanted to go to be a nurse. So 6 weeks before time to graduate, the principal said, who's going to school to be a nurse? She raised her hand. Now you know, in nursing school, you cannot do that without science background. So she was, left in a difficult situation. But she was able to go on to school. Now, whether she finished in nursing, I don't know, but that was her desire. And mine was to be a beautician. And I'm glad I didn't be a beautician. Because beauticians at that time got to be like service stations for a while. They were on every corner. And so you more or less just stop. But there were a lack of books, you might say. And there was a lack of good transportation. We had the bus that had the 3 seats in it, one on each wall, and then the double one in the middle. And it came, you never knew what it was to have a new bus, I guess. So you sit on that, and this bus driver wanted to be aggravated, and he slam on brakes and everybody pick up everything on the floor. That was the way that it was. We did not have, sometimes we'd look in the back of the books and we would see where they came from other schools, where other students had them already. But, after I became an adult, a responsible adult, so maybe some of those markers, you read those books like you do another book that you might buy, used books. And if it's underlined, pay attention to it. But see, we didn't know that. We were looking at the second-hand stuff rather than looking at the message they may have been left there for those that use this book after me. A fine point to remember when you get a used book.
How do you feel about the school becoming a historical site?
I love it. I love it. I did quite a bit of computer research on it after I got involved. And to see that someone in Chicago, the Rosenwald, had the idea, of course George Washington Carver was involved in that, to establish schools for the benefit of black children. It was it should not have been satisfying because everybody had to pay taxes. But everybody did not get the benefit from those taxes. We should have had it already. They did not say, just cut out this swath of black people and say, well, you don't have to pay taxes because you're not going to be able to get these benefits. And the same thing with parks and everything else. You had to pay your taxes, but you did not receive the benefit. And one of the areas that was hurt was education. The children did not have. And it was nothing for parents because we have a lot of farm area out here. And at that time, we had black families that sharecropped on the white landowners' property. And their children were going to school every day. But our children, in most situations, were held back to work in the fields. I made myself a promise. I would never sharecrop for anyone. And that was one of the reasons why. The children were held back and not allowed to go to school. And in some cases, their father would go, and then their fathers would come and get them. We got to worm the tobacco. That worm, you take a quart jar, go and look under every leaf and stuff that little worm in there till you get your little jar full. And if you don't have enough worms, because they didn't do a lot of spraying then, worms in your jar, you had to go back over because they felt like there were more worms that you'd missed. So working from can't see to can't see became the norm for us. And so that was one of the things that, with the opportunity for education, came the opportunity for you to value your worth after you got out from under the home. When the home like that, because you had to do what you were told then. You dare not question nor desire anything different.
So, after you graduated, what did you go on to do?
After I graduated, I got a scholarship to go to Morgan's Beauty College in Charlotte. My parents did not prepare for me to go off to school. So I graduated in May, and July the 31st I got married. I was 17 years old. My husband was 18 years old. He passed away in 2004, 10 weeks short of 50 years.
A long time.
A long time. It was a long time. But in between that, I was fortunate to get a job working at Lar. And from that, I started going first to Rockingham Community College. I went to A&T. I went to UNCG. I went to, at that time I was doing tailoring, that type thing. And from there, I went on to Duke for a hot minute, one whole year in theology. And I've gone on 32 international mission trips all over, yeah, including Russia and Bolivia and Guatemala, places like that. The year that I was to go to China was the year they had the bird flu epidemic going on, so they canceled all of our mission trips. And that has been one of those things that I really am very, very satisfied with being able to serve and to work, to learn. I tell people I am nosy by nature. I want to see, I want to experience. And so that was a good way for me to do that. And for me to be able to do that, I credit my union. I went to school many times for the benefit of me serving there, shop steward, trustee, and whatever. But I credit them with allowing me to have the education opportunities that sort of designated my area of total interest. So that is one of the things I will always be proud of, is my union for providing. And the union didn't own it, but through the union we were able to make salaries and have benefits. So that's one of the things that we have, and so I really am very, very proud of that. And I've been heavily involved in mission work for a number of years. Yes.
So how would you characterize the race relations in Brown Summit and Greensboro at the time you attended this school?
There was no race relations. There was acceptance of the spot where you belong. And we never, there was not a sense of questioning. My father would not have agreed with that, and my mother was one of these people. She was just full of fire, and if you messed with her, you had trouble on your hand. But I'll give you an example of my experience when I was 16 years old. Our choir went to Golston to sing at a church. And on our way back, we were so hungry. And we stopped at this little cafe because it was the only lights we saw at the time. We stopped and somebody said, well, who's going in? Well, we knew we could not sit down. We knew that. So I hopped up in the front door and I walked up to the to the counter, the bar, whatever, and man said, can I help you? I said, yes. I would like to order. He said, we can't serve you in here. You have to go around to the back. I said, I am not that hungry, and walked out. I learned then the value of the green coming through the back door is the same as coming through the front. You realize that you as a person have been degraded, but you and what you can provide for that, for them, is up here. So I never allowed anyone from that day to this one to second rate me for no reason. In any setting, it does not matter. So race relations was not a thing. That was a place, you're getting out of your place when you would desire to speak up, or whenever you want to sit on the bus, as you had to walk a mile to get to the trolley. But when you wanted to sit down, if there were no seats behind this particular exit, you could not sit down, even though the front may have been empty. And when you go into department stores like Myers at the time, which later became Dillard's, there was a restroom in the basement, and you could go there, and all of the black women, after working in Irving Park and over in the elite part of Greensboro, they would come there because it was the only place they had a seat. It was 2 seats, and all of us, that's where we were. And after integration became a part of, well, a realization that it was coming, I decided, well, I was going to go to the beauty salon in Myers department store to use the restroom, because we were not allowed to use the fancy restroom. I call it fancy because it had shiny faucets and it had all of the nuances, you know, that you expect to have, complete with good paper towels and all that. So I refused to go in anybody's basement to use the restroom. And those are the types of things that race relations do for you. Black and white water fountains. Even when I went to work in Lard, it was black and white water fountains. The black people worked in the hot areas, the dirty areas, and the canteen machine was located over on the production floor, where we were not allowed to go over there unless we were sweeping. So When you came over to get to the canteen, there was a line on the floor. That line stayed there, and we were to stay in that line in order that you go to the canteen machine. You could not get out of that line. Yeah. So it has not been a beautiful journey, but it is a journey that teaches you to be appreciative of the changes. Because one thing that mission trips have done for me, it taught me that all over the world, people have been held as slaves all over the world, and they still are. In Kenya, it is tribal slavery. And in other parts of the world, the tribal power is the most powerful thing in the world. You cannot break tribal traditions. There is a move now to try to change some, but the tribal impact is thousands of years ingrained in the people. So you're not going to be able to break it. No law under the world. You can be as sick as anybody. I've seen people in Kenya where at the clinic where we worked, and they were standing in line for 2 days to try to get some medical assistance. Someone from the Akua tribe come in. Guess what? Everybody stands back. The Americans were hot. They were hot. And Dr. John, he was the dentist, he said, I just don't understand it. I'm not going to accept it. But then when you realize you are there in their culture, not in yours. In fact, when you get on the plane, you leave yours behind. That's what you do. And so it is very, very informative in a way, because it awakens in you how appreciative we should be. And this existence that we enjoy is not something that is experienced by everybody in the 7th grade or everybody that's as old as me. It's quite different, quite different. And so when you see people in other, say, environments, because that's what it is, other environments, you look at yourself, say, except for by the grace that will meet. And I have had to do that when you are in situations where these children, in Kenya we were working on Squatters Hill, and this is a place where people actually bring their children to leave them forever. Yeah, forever. And because they cannot provide. And there is this dream that if I can get to here, they will be better. But that's not so. But that is a dream that so many have. And you reach out and take the child, they bring babies, love children, yes. You reach out and take it, you got a baby. Next time you see that mother's shirt tail, it's in the wind, way over there somewhere. You got a baby. So it is quite a learning experience to see the impact of the tribal effect on people.
So what lessons should today's youth draw from your days as a teenager?
Say that again.
What lessons should today's youth draw from your days as a teenager?
The one thing that they should draw from our days of a teenager, earn what it is that you desire to be. Earn what it is. If you want to sweep, this is one of the things we used to use, if you want to sweep Elm Street, be the best sweeper that you can be. I would tell the technicians where I worked, I was a sharp steward, They say, oh, I'm just a technician. I said, there is no such thing as just anybody. You are a technician. You are a cook. You are. Don't ever put that just in there, because you, not realizing it, really lower your own self. Be the best you can be. And only you can control that. Only you can control it. And that is one of the things that I try my best to teach to the young people. I used to do a lot of mission speaking because of my position that I had with the conference as a mission interpretation and education coordinator for the Western North Carolina Conference. Be the best that you can be. And if somebody tells you, well, they don't want you to do this, you look at them and say, who are they? Who are they? Don't worry about what other people want for you. Do what you want for yourself. And like someone said one time, it said, if you want to lay out under the tree and fan all day, make sure you got a good one. Make sure you got a good one. Be the best that you can be. And nobody can take that from you. Live your dream. Live your dream.
What one thing, if you had to name one thing, do you think the public needs to know about Brown Summit Colored High School?
Brown Summit Colored High School was a valuable part of this community. A very valuable part of this community. Because in this community, every citizen counts. Every citizen is valued. And the thing that we need to strengthen is the people being able to accept their value. The thing that irks me so much is when I hear somebody say, well, they ain't gonna miss me, I don't count. What do you mean you don't count? You count if you only count for yourself. You count. You are valuable. And that's what this community did. And the Brown Summit tried to, the mission was to educate the black children. Back in my day, they called them Negro. But back in my day, that's what they called. It was a way for the children to become educated. Formal education. And that education will make you equal with anybody. It will make you equal with anyone. It is what you do with it after you get it that separate people. Refuse to be separated in the lower level of things. Elevate yourself. Education. That's what it did for this community.
So, how can we continue to preserve the legacy of this school?
Continue to strengthen the importance of the past. You, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, you cannot do it without having a foundation. That foundation determines a lot of things that you do and want to do in your life. You have the option to change, to alter things, but your foundation is so important. And people need to recognize there is no institution that had the care and the perspective for children to grow and become. It's not important. It is very important. And I guarantee you, we did have a lot of people that did not respect the opportunities that were provided, because in the background before them, there was no push to become. There were still people signing their names with X's. Signing with X's. We have people around this school right now to sign their name that way. Wow. They refused to learn. It was here. Learn. And that's the thing that this community, this school was powerful for. It was. And we had we started off, some of the classes started off with 32, and then half of them graduated. My class, when we graduated in 54, was the largest class that had graduated. We had 16, 18 graduated. So we had arrived. We held the record for 1 year. And then it's, started growing. Yeah. And the thing that really gets me is the reasons. We look at the reasons sometimes why it was closed as a school. And there was not going to be integration occurring without forced changes. And to Gifford County went down, was it Market and Elm Street, and cut the county into 4 squares. And wherever you landed, that was the effort to integrate schools. And so we were in the northeast section, so we got that. And then Laughlin, which was our great competitor when we were a school, they went that way always. And so that was the way. But this school is very important. The Broom Factory and Brown Summit School, they are the 2 things that kept this community going. But the Brown Summit School was the only thing here that was built for the benefit of black kids, black people. And we have to be thankful for that. Oh, when we were out there whooping the bushes, trying to get the name transferred, and we had this representative. He came to our church, wanted us to vote for him. He was running for the school board. And we voted for him. And whenever he was our representative at the time, when we started the battle about the naming of the school, he didn't know us. I said, I'll tell you one thing. When you came to our church and you stood in sanctuary and gave us your message, we accepted it. Now you accept this one from me. We can vote you out next time. Oh yeah. Then what you have to do something. You do. You do. Yeah, you do. Put it right there where it is.
All right. Well, that was the last of our questions.
Oh, it was. I'm just on a roll.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Oh, it was a pleasure meeting you too. Yes, and I hope that in all of this, that we all gain something that will help us to have better relations with people. And I think the first step into it is to realize there's one thing that I've learned on my mission trips. Every person that I met have the same desire to love, to be loved, and provide for their families. That's what that's in their dream. It's in their dream. In some situations, they can't accomplish that. But if you get it in your head, your feet will follow sometime. But you got to get it in your